From the outside, my life seemed perfect. A spacious home with a neatly trimmed lawn, a sparkling pool in the backyard, and a hardworking husband who provided for our family. Our son Ethan was 21, on the brink of graduating college, full of potential. To the world, we looked like the picture of happiness. But behind closed doors, things were far from ideal. My husband, Mark, spent most of his time either at the office or glued to his phone and the television when he was home. The warmth that once filled our marriage had faded into a heavy silence, leaving me feeling invisible in my own house. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon when I truly noticed Caleb for the first time. He was Ethan's best friend, confident, well-mannered, someone who had visited our home for months. Until that day, he had simply been part of the background. But as I stood in the kitchen, glancing out through the sliding glass doors, something shifted. Ethan and Caleb were laughing by the pool, carefree and energetic. The sunlight sparkled on Caleb's toned body as he resurfaced from a dive, his smile bright and unguarded. There was something about the way he moved, so full of life, such a stark contrast to my husband's exhausted and distracted presence. For a fleeting moment, I couldn't look away. I shook the thought from my head and returned to washing the dishes, but my mind continued drifting back to him. Over the following weeks, Caleb spent more and more time at our house. He and Ethan lifted weights in the garage, played video games late into the night, and lounged by the pool. With every visit, I became more aware of him, his voice, his laughter, even the faint scent of his cologne lingering long after he was gone. One afternoon, while Ethan ran to the store, Caleb stepped into the kitchen for a drink. "Mrs. Reynolds, mind if I grab some water?" His deep voice caught me off guard. "Of course," I replied, trying to sound casual. "And please just call me Claire." He grinned. "Thanks, Claire." As he reached for a glass, our hands brushed, a brief, harmless touch. But it sent a jolt through me. I pulled my hand back quickly, hoping he hadn't noticed the breath that caught in my throat. "Sorry about that," he chuckled. "It's fine," I murmured, cheeks flushing as he walked away. I leaned against the counter, trying to quiet the storm in my chest. What was wrong with me? I was a married woman in my 40s, yet here I was, blushing like a teenager. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sat alone by the pool, watching the moonlight shimmer on the water. I told myself it was just a passing infatuation, something that would soon fade. But deep down, I knew better. A line had already been crossed. The feelings I tried so hard to ignore only grew stronger. Caleb wasn't just attractive, he was attentive. He noticed things. The way I paused before answering questions. How my smile rarely reached my eyes. One evening, as I folded laundry near the living room window, I overheard Ethan and Caleb playing basketball outside. Their shirts were off, their bodies slick with sweat under the summer sun. I tried to focus on my task, but my eyes kept drifting toward Caleb. Then he saw me and smiled. Not the usual friendly smile. This one felt knowing, teasing. My heart pounded. I quickly looked away, pretending to focus on the laundry. A few minutes later, he stood by the open window. "You should come outside more, Claire. Get some sun," he said, his voice low. I forced a light laugh. "I'm fine right here." But his words stayed with me. It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Like a dare. That night, as I cleaned up in the kitchen, Caleb entered. His presence was unsettling. "Need any help?" he asked. "I've got it," I said, not meeting his eyes. But he didn't leave. He leaned against the counter, watching me. "You work too hard," he said softly. "Someone should take care of you for a change." I froze, my grip tightening on the dish towel. No one had spoken to me like that in years.
I should have stopped it right then.
But I didn't. The moment of no return came one evening when Mark and Ethan went to a basketball game in the city. The house was unusually quiet. Caleb had stayed behind, saying he wasn't a fan of sports. I didn't question it. I was curled up on the couch with a book, though I hadn't absorbed a single word, when Caleb appeared in the doorway. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, holding a glass of water. I nodded. He sat down beside me, closer than ever before. The air between us was thick, electric. "You seem nervous," he said after a moment. "I'm fine," I lied, though my hands trembled slightly. He gently took the book from my hands and set it aside. "Claire," he murmured, "you don't have to pretend with me." Hearing my name from his lips like that, without formality, sent a shiver down my spine. "I can't," I whispered. "You can," he replied. "I know you feel it too." And I did. I stopped thinking, stopped worrying about the consequences. I leaned in, and he met me halfway. Our lips met, and weeks of unspoken tension erupted in that single moment. His hands were firm yet gentle, his touch awakening something long buried inside me. For weeks, we shared stolen moments, glances, whispers, fleeting touches that sent electricity through my veins. But secrets never stay buried forever. The reckoning. One evening, as I tidied up the kitchen, Mark found Caleb's hoodie draped over a dining chair. "Did Caleb leave this here?" he asked casually. "Yes," I answered too quickly, heart pounding. "He must have forgotten it." Mark narrowed his eyes but said nothing. The final blow came days later. Mark walked into the kitchen at the worst possible moment, just as Caleb's fingers brushed mine. The room went still. Mark's face darkened. "What the hell is going on?" Ethan stepped into the doorway, confused. "What's happening?" Mark turned toward him, voice sharp. "How well do you really know your friend?" In that moment, everything crumbled. Ethan stormed out, heartbroken. Caleb, stunned and speechless, left without a word. Mark and I stood there in silence, the weight of my betrayal suffocating the space between us. The aftermath. The weeks that followed were unbearable. Ethan refused to speak to me. Mark moved into the guest room. Caleb vanished from our lives. Some mistakes leave scars that never fully heal. Months later, I still live with the consequences. My marriage dangles by a thread. My bond with my son may never recover. And Caleb, he moved on. I saw him once, but we didn't speak. What we had wasn't love.
It was a mistake.
One that cost me everything. Now I live in a quiet house, haunted by my decisions. Some lines, once crossed, can never be redrawn. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to like and subscribe for more emotionally intense tales.